Do you want to have crosshair placement like this?
Oh my god.
But every time you tell yourself you have to aim at head level, your shots end up looking like this. Hey guys, I'm Konpeki, and in this video, I'm going to share what the 3 components of good crosshair placement looks like, along with the exact steps and drills that I've personally taught to thousands of my students to help them reach Immortal and Radiant. And if you need help implementing any of these tips, my team of VCT level coaches and I can give you feedback inside our 10-week Immortal roadmap coaching program. We're so confident in our coaching that if you don't gain 500 RR in 10 weeks, we'll give you a full refund. The first one-on-one call with us is completely free, so use the link in the description to book your free call. I told you there are 3 components to good crosshair placement, and the first component is one that you're tired of hearing: aiming at head level. The reason why you're tired of hearing this tip is that not many guides go over how to actually make sure you're doing this properly. The terrain and distance you play on affect how you place your crosshair. For example, if you were to go into the practice range and look at the bots from the start button, head height looks consistent for all the bots. But if you start moving further back, you'll notice that some bots appear slightly taller or shorter on your screen. I actually had the chance to talk about this very concept with Chet on Ye's crosshair placement while he was on Optic all the way back in TwitchCon 2022. He mentioned that Ye would practice his crosshair placement every single day with Chet by going into custom games and learning where his crosshair placement needs to be for every ambiguous angle he can hold. That's why he was so oppressive on Chamber.
Oh my god!
I've hit Radiant a few times in the past, so I can confidently say that I'm used to aiming at head height using indicators around the map. But when it comes to angles where there's a big difference in platform height and there aren't clear guidelines to go off of, I'm not 100% confident in holding those angles. But for Ye, he looked for every little advantage he can get with his crosshair placement by doing the work most people weren't willing to do. See the fruits of his labor for yourself in this example of Ye clearing A main on Pearl. As he clears, he understands the elevation, distance, and location of wherever an opponent may or may not be on an angle. The smoothness of his crosshair placement comes with his ability to adjust as he clears, and this ability rewards him with a kill on Gecko and eventually Astra. So what can we do to develop this robotic crosshair placement for ourselves? Pull up Tracker to find out which map you have the lowest headshot percentage on, and once you know what map it is, go into a custom game on that map with all cheats enabled. You can also have a friend join to practice together, just like Chet and Ye. Once you're in the game, spend time learning the different objects and decals that indicate head height at common angles. For example, square wooden boxes and radianite crates are the same height as agent character models. Riot designs the maps in a way you can 99% of the time find similar objects in every map that function as a placeholder. Focus on one map at a time, and over time, your pattern recognition skills will transfer over to other maps. Next, we'll apply this knowledge in Deathmatch. To get the most out of your practice time, I highly recommend using a video clipping software that lets you record the last 60 to 90 seconds of your gameplay. As you play Deathmatch, use a Guardian to only go for headshots. When you lose a gunfight because you were hitting body shots, use the clipping software to watch a replay of where your crosshair was positioned before the gunfight started. This will help you remember what to do the next time you're holding or peeking the same exact angle. Now, our second topic to learn for good crosshair placement is pre-aiming. Pre-aiming involves adjusting your crosshair position based on the opponent's anticipated positioning and movement. How you pre-aim your crosshair changes depending on whether you're holding an angle or peeking an angle. Generally, it's best to pre-aim your crosshair into the wall, like as if you have wall hacks, before you go for a peek against a standing target, so that there are very minimal crosshair adjustments you need to make before you shoot. The last example clip of Ye showed a lot of pre-aiming examples for peeking against enemies that might be holding you. And if you're holding an angle instead of peeking it, it's generally best to pre-aim your crosshair 2 crosshair widths away from the wall with the 1420 crosshair if you're holding for a standard peek, and 3 crosshair widths away if you're holding an off angle or you're anticipating a wide peek. Just note that if you're holding an angle at long range, you only need to aim 1 crosshair width away since the opponent will move less on your screen. Lastly, if you're peeking and an enemy can also be peeking you at the same time, it's better to pre-aim your crosshair at least 1 crosshair width away from the wall instead of having your crosshair pre-aimed into the wall. This is so that you have a buffer to react to an enemy appearing to peek very wide on your screen as both of you are peeking out behind cover. Now that we've gone over this concept, let's look at this clip of Demon 1 where he demonstrates great crosshair placement for holding and peeking scenarios. For the first 3 kills, you'll notice how unlike Ye's slow and methodical approach to peeking angles by pre-aiming through walls, Demon 1 traces the close edges of the wall with his crosshair because he wants to fast peek the enemy team that is pushing up long with his knives. This crosshair placement gives him a bigger buffer to react to the enemy team that's pushing up because Demon 1 can also get peeked by them at any given moment. After getting 3 quick kills, he looks to see where the last 2 attackers might be pushing in from. Because Demon 1 isn't looking to get the jump on the enemies by peeking them, he pre-aims his crosshair wider away from the wall to hold the angles. And voila! He tags the KJ and then he goes back to the tracing the edge of the wall to peek the KJ that he spotted. With the last kill on Omen, he pre-aims his crosshair through the wall because he anticipates that Omen will be standing stationary while holding the angle Demon 1 is about to peek. After he misses the flick, he quickly adjusts his crosshair placement to hold for a peek from Omen because Omen now has to try to make a play in a 1v4 scenario where the defenders are closing in on his revealed location. To help you pre-aim like Demon 1, I'll share some drills with you. For the first drill, head into the range and select Sage. Set the practice to eliminate 50 bots using a Vandal or Phantom as your weapon of choice and a Shorty to break the wall if needed. Position yourself near the stairs from the left and create a Sage wall as shown. Use the stairs as varying elevations for each peak. Focus on pre-aiming the bots at head level through the wall, using the spawning sound of the bot to guide your crosshair placement. This exercise simulates anticipating enemy positions based on sound cues, which is closer to what you'd get in a real game. Next, you can try incorporating some Aimlab tasks into your routine. Aimlab is free, and the Voltaic aim groups offer tasks tailored for Valorant mechanics. These tasks linked in the description use familiar ranks to highlight your skills, but be aware that the difficulty can be higher than expected. For example, our pre-aim task, Angle Track Easy. While the task literally has the word easy in it, it's an intense drill that helps refine your tracking techniques. The goal is to improve your smoothness and accuracy while moving and aiming at targets, similar to how Demon 1 had smooth pre-aiming crosshair placement while tracing the outlines of walls. This task should provide a decent challenge and a fun way to practice beyond standard range drills. Now, the last component of good crosshair placement that you might be surprised to hear about is micro adjustments. I know some of you guys might think that micro adjustments don't have much to do with crosshair placement, but something we have to admit is that no one is perfect. You can't always have perfect crosshair placement with perfect anticipation, or else you'd really be hacking. Having good crosshair placement isn't only about the skill itself, but the ability to deal with the aftermath. That's where micro adjustments come in. Micro adjustments are small movements you make with your mouse to ensure your crosshair is precisely on target. Micro adjustments help you react to any changes or mistakes you may have made during your pre-aim crosshair placement, and it also helps us smoothen out our crosshair placement as we account for different distances and platform heights. Meteor on Gen G demonstrates this concept clearly in the share 4K here. While the first 2 kills were more like what we first talked about with aiming at head height and having good pre-aim crosshair placement, take a look at these last 2 kills. Initially, Meteor whiffs the first bullet onto Killjoy, but he quickly microadjusts, gets the kill onto Killjoy, and when he finds the Omen that's trying to trade him out, he quickly microadjusts to his head to get the kill. These tiny movements in our crosshair can be the difference between hitting and missing your shot. Plenty of students have told me before learning about microadjustments, I feel very confident in my crosshair placement, and on paper it looks like I should win, but I still don't. Why is that? There are 3 main reasons why this happens. They either use too much of their arm to microadjust, they over or under flick too often, or they shoot before microadjusting, therefore losing out on your first bullet accuracy. So to improve our microadjustments, we'll do a few things. First, if you use too much of your arm to aim, you need to get used to using more of your wrist and fingers. Your fingers have some of the most concentrated motor and sensory nerves, so it'd be a waste not to incorporate them when we're trying to make fine adjustments to our aim. I highly recommend trying to get used to using a claw grip for this reason. To help you get used to not solely relying on arm aiming, go into the range and turn on practice spots using a ghost with bot armor on. We'll be going for headshots only and start by over flicking bots we are targeting. First, do as you normally do and only use your arm to aim. Then, try only using your wrist to hit targets. Then, go even further and use only your fingers to aim. It should feel harder and harder to move your crosshair in big distances as you switch from using your arm to just your fingers. Now, change your sensitivity accordingly so you feel comfortable with your wrist or fingers doing those same micro adjustments we started with on our arm. Your accuracy should go up over time as you get used to using more of your wrist and fingers. The idea is to use your arm for big adjustments like turning 180 degrees, but your wrist and fingertip should help you aim precisely within a 90-degree field of vision. Now, let's take a look at the Voltaic Aimlabs playlist and start with a task called Micro to Sphere Valorant Easy. This is the perfect task for creating clean lines in short distances to microjust for poor and good crosshair placement in a controlled manner. If you're still having issues with over or under flicking after using this task, you can use the speedier cousin of this task called Microcluster Valorant. This will help you with the speed you need to move your crosshair in an actual fight with multiple close targets. The final task I'll share is focused on helping you if you have a habit of not microjusting at all during the middle of gunfights. I've seen players who see a target move, then as the target moves, they don't move their crosshair at all. Being reactive enough in those situations are difficult. So I like to use Angle Shot Micro Valorant Easy to get the active side of micro adjustments down. Each of these tasks we've talked about using Aimlabs all have harder versions you can work to master over time. So don't rush to get a high score. I like to pace myself using a metronome or a song I'm listening to so I can keep a steady pace while focusing on accuracy at the same time. Something like 100 to 120 BPM is a good start with tasks that require shooting and not tracking. With everything we've gone over, you should have the tools necessary to really shine with your crosshair placement above the rest if you practice these concepts consistently. And again, if you need help implementing any of these tips, make sure to take advantage of the free call you can have with our coaches down in the description below to see if you'd be a good fit for coaching. Thanks for watching.